bad movies, bad life advice, and even worse life decisions. We cover it all here on the Life with Kenny podcast. I'm your host, Kenny. Grab a beer, sit back, and relax for this week's episode, because things are about to get weird.
What's an all-American girl like you doing with a geek like this?
Forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Fuck me gently with a chainsaw.
Jimmy was off the hook. I know you really don't listen to Slipknot.
Does your Rhino?
You are listening to a Life with Kenny podcast.
Not quite my tempo. It's all good. No worries. Here we go.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to this week's episode of Movie Night, the podcast series where we discuss the best and worst movies in cinema history. And today we're going to be diving in a particularly bad movie. Today's movie is going to be Hard Ticket to Hawaii, Andy Sedaris film. This guy is widely known. Basically, we've been called out for getting our facts wrong. So first I want to say anything I say is very loosely thrown around here. But Andy Sedaris is widely known for just making a shit ton of like really shitty 80s action movies with over-the-top action, over-the-top gratuitous nudity and very awkward scenes. So much like Miami Connection, I'm looking forward to this one. Have either of you guys seen Hard Ticket to Hawaii at all?
Well, just take a guess. What do you reckon the answer?
Probably not, hey? You probably haven't even heard of it, I'm assuming. Kyle?
Fuck me.
Nope, I haven't even seen Miami Connection or whatever.
Are you guys familiar with Andy Sedaris at all?
No, not at all.
Okay, so this guy, I'm going to look into him a little bit more as a filmmaker because apparently there's a few other films that he's made that are pretty ridiculous and on par with this. So if we like this one, there's a few other options we can branch off to.
I mean, you say like, if we like this one.
We're not going to like it, I thought.
Well, did you like The Room?
Only when people were throwing spoons at me while we were watching it.
Did you like Miami Connection?
Sure.
Okay, let me rephrase. If you guys like the experience of watching this movie,
there we go.
Then we can dive into some more because this
you
guy has made.
You might not like it, but you'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at with movies right now. Is a lot of the time I find myself just being meh with movies.
Yeah.
Lately, and I feel like if you have something that's really bad that it's entertaining, it's almost as good as having an amazing movie, which is also entertaining.
Yeah,
So yeah, you guys haven't seen this movie. I have not either. I actually only found out about this movie doing research for the podcast because I've been looking for just anything I can throw into the mix that might throw you guys off your chair for a little bit and like just kind of confuse you guys a bit.
Oh yeah,
because I like to be confused as well. So I guess. Patrick, knowing Miami Connection and The Room, this movie's compared to those. Do you think you'll like this movie, or are you just not in the mood?
Probably. I'm a bit tired.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this will get me the old boys going again. You know.
Yeah, I think everybody's a little bit tired and not feeling that great today. So I kind of feel bad that this is the week that we're going to be watching this one, but. I think once it gets going, it'll be ridiculous enough that it'll bring the energy up.
Yeah, hopefully it's absolutely garbage, which will be exciting.
So before we get too far into talking about the movie, normally we talk about movie trailers. This time we're going to watch them like you would in a theater, right before we watch the movie. So we will talk about those when we come back. But for now, we also like to talk about stuff that we've been watching. So I know Kyle's been on a big documentary kick lately. Have you been watching anything else?
I haven't watched any documentaries lately, but
like the boy band con and all that stuff we've been talking about on Life Legends episodes.
I stayed homesick from work yesterday and watched Chips movie.
Oh, the Dax Shepard movie?
One. It wasn't bad.
Are you familiar with the original TV series at all?
No, I never watched any.
Did you know it was based on a 70s?
Yeah, it said it at the beginning of it.
Okay. And you said it, like, what would you rate that movie if you were to give it a rating? Is it one you'd recommend checking out?
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And
What is it like? Because I've heard a lot of things about it
You
being.
haven't seen
like-
it?
No, I haven't. I like Dax Shepard. I just haven't seen it.
It's like your typical kind of cop chase detective movie, but there's a lot of ridiculous, funny parts in it. Kind of like his so Dax's main character, his partner at the beginning is like homophobic.
Okay, and Dax plays a gay guy or what?
No, not gay, but like comfortable. And he kind of makes
The fuck does
like
that
comfortable with himself and whatever, being around
No, I
other
get that.
guys.
Like, you
know
can
what I
see
mean?
someone else's cock without getting a knob on.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, without being uncomfortable.
I don't
And
know. Or you feel extra comfortable. Either way.
yeah. But his partner, that's like right from the beginning, that's like an issue, is he's like trying to say like, I only like ladies kind of thing, and then some shit goes down, which I'm not going to spoil it if you want to watch it.
I've heard
And
a little bit from his
Yeah.
podcast, but yeah, I heard it's a funny scene.
yeah, it's, I don't know. And then they kind of make some closer, so not gay way, but
A no homo movie.
Not in a gay way.
so I watched that, and then I
Said the
started
person
watching.
desperately trying to cover up the fact that he's gay.
I watched that movie, and then I started watching The Good Place with Dax's wife.
Oh, Kristen Bell? What do you think of that show?
It's not bad.
How
it
many-
kind of
It's easy to watch.
yeah.
Easy.
It
to
kind of
watch.
reminded me of Last Man on Earth,
Yeah.
like in just
Yeah,
some
it's
parts
got like
of it.
it's got like a weird vibe to it. It's unlike anything else, I think, is
Yeah.
is the easiest way to explain it. And it's got such a strange cast. Have you seen
Yeah, there's not
You've
many.
seen Good
There's
Place,
not many.
Yeah, I've seen.
There's not many big characters in that show.
most of the seasons, I think, apart from like the newest ones.
Okay.
I've seen past like the major spoiler section.
Yeah, so after the first season then.
Yeah.
How far are you, Kyle?
I think like episode 7 or 8.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely one of those shows that's easy to watch, and it had me hooked. Like I binge watched the first season.
Yeah, man. It's because it's what I like about that series is that it's 20-minute episodes. I really struggle to, even if something looks like it's really fucking good, if it's 45 minutes an episode and there's like 10 episodes, I'm sat there thinking, fuck me, I haven't got time for that shit.
Yeah, man. I feel that. That's definitely like lately I find myself on YouTube more than anything, just
Yeah,
because
man.
you can pop in and out to like 5-minute videos, and
Yeah.
there's such a vast variety of topics you can cover. Like you can go from like a 10-minute documentary about a sniper from the war to like literally just dudes making fart jokes for like
Yeah.
2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah,
and
dude.
it's definitely like, it's tough to just buckle down for a 45-minute episode knowing that there's 23 of them.
Like for something that's just barely interesting enough to have grabbed your attention in the first place, you know.
Yeah.
I tried watching Ozark.
I would highly recommend carrying on with that
Yeah.
because that show is fucking.
See, I was just so tired, and I
that
fell
the-
asleep within 10 minutes.
Is that the Jason Bateman one?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Got a bit of a man crush on Jason Bateman. I don't know what it is, but I feel like if he came up to me, I probably would. You know.
Him and Rob Schneider, they just like tickle your fancy.
Yeah, a little bit. They do. They tickle the old fancy. Yeah, I've got an odd taste in men.
Hey, whatever works for you, I guess.
Yeah.
As long as we don't have any accidental chips incidents when you eventually come out to us, it's all good, man.
No worries.
Have you watched anything else, Kyle, besides those two things?
I think that's
3
about
things.
it since we last recorded.
Yeah, it's since Midnight Meat Train. What about you, Patrick? Have you seen anything?
Not a great deal, no. I've just been watching Fear the Walking Dead, but all I can think about is how much better it is than The Walking Dead.
Yeah, like
Is it like a crossover, or is it a whole different series?
In the 4th season, it's a crossover,
Okay.
but they don't cross over all the boring characters.
So it's just a couple characters, like who?
Just one character.
Which one?
I don't want to say in case people.
it's probably one of the ones that left.
No, it's one of the main characters.
Oh.
But the only thing that bothers me is that the timeline doesn't really add up because it seems to be after all the Negan stuff.
Really?
Yeah, But-
Negan stuff was like season.
Like 2 seasons ago.
That's like quite far.
No, I mean like the very end of
Yeah.
all the Negan stuff.
Like with him and when he shows off his bat. You're talking.
No, I mean like once they,
Resolve that.
yeah.
So even later on, like so it's basically current. It's like a
end
current
of-
crossover in
the
a
end
way.
of season 8, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
weird.
I'm just
I
looking it
fell
up here.
off when the Negan stuff started.
Yeah,
Because I was just over it.
It's boring, man. The Walking Dead is really fucking boring
Yeah.
nowadays.
And I started Fear the Walking Dead with my dad when they premiered the first season. And we watched like 6 episodes and got pretty invested. And then maybe it was less than 6 episodes, but it was whenever they had the yacht. They started getting the yacht and stuff. And then we just kind of we had like Walking Dead fatigue because it was like after the Walking Dead or alternating or whatever. And we were just kind of over weekly viewings of that.
Yeah.
Like you set aside time to watch something and it's like as soon as you get invested you have to sit through like fucking 6 minutes of commercials to come back to the same boring thing.
I haven't sat down and watched a TV show on TV for a good 5 or 6 years, I think.
Yeah, so I'm
Me
looking
either
on
since
here.
then basically.
Yeah.
Looks like Negan's first appearance was in season 8.
Yeah, so
So that's crazy.
Yeah, so it must have been, what was the last season?
they're probably on like 11 now, I'd say 10 or 11, wouldn't they?
I'll look.
Yeah, well, but yeah, like the timeline really doesn't add up because Fear the Walking Dead's pretty soon after the outbreak, right?
Well, it seems like it does, but maybe the outbreak didn't spread from Atlanta, Georgia, right away. Maybe
Well, no,
because
I've-
Fear the Walking Dead takes place in California, if
Yeah,
I'm
but
right.
it was airborne straight away, was it not?
I'm not sure how it spread. I don't think it was ever actually shown because the way the first season ended, they got to that thing and they almost found out how it spread.
They don't show you, but it's revealed at the end of the season 1 of The Walking Dead that everyone's
They're on
infected.
season 9.
See, what I was thinking is maybe because it initiated in Georgia because they found the laboratory that it originated in.
True.
And maybe it spread out to California by then because California's,
Yeah,
I think
but
it's pretty far from Georgia, is it not?
It was airborne. I feel like it just happened everywhere.
But then wouldn't everybody have it?
Yeah, everyone does.
So how is not everybody changed then?
Because if you die, you come back. The bites don't.
Oh, really?
kill-
Like
yeah,
no matter what, it has
yeah, the
nothing to
bites
do
don't
with...
kill you.
Oh, I
Well,
thought
the
for some
bites
reason
don't-
I've always thought the bites were part of the fucking
No, the
reason you
bites
got
just give you a
infected.
fever that kills you, and then you come back. It doesn't matter how you die. If your brain isn't destroyed, you'll come back.
Yeah, I fucking don't remember that at all.
Is
from
that-
That's like
show.
a crucial part.
from that show? Honestly, man, I
I
watched like I
haven't
said
watched
8
it.
seasons.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a long time, but I think you're right because I remember parts of it where they were burning bodies of people that died. Right?
Yeah, well, they have to stab people in the neck
Yeah.
whenever they die. Like even people that just get sick. And the old noggin.
Out of us 3, you probably know more than.
Yeah, for,
Oh, yeah, I'm
for
a-
some
I'm a big
reason,
fan.
for some reason, I just remember them only killing people who either had like been bitten or had some sort of blood contact with them.
Oh no, they kill the people that have been bitten because it's just a horrible way to die. It's like
Yeah, I know.
dying of a fever.
Because there was when they're in the jail cell there, someone just got sick
Yeah.
and they had to kill them.
Well, that was from the pigs, though, right? The pigs had swine flu or whatever, and gave everybody
from
swine flu.
the zombies that had the blood dripping from their eyes. They had like a disease carrying with them.
Like I think it was hinted that it was like a swine flu type thing
was-
because
it
it
was
was
something
just
sketchy.
after that epidemic and people were like
Yeah.
freaked out, so they were trying to cash in on that. But
So you would you recommend watching Fear of the Walking Dead?
Oh yeah, the first season's real slow,
yeah,
but shit gets fucking wild.
like if I were to recommend, I'd say Walking Dead first 3 seasons.
No, Walking Dead first season, miss the second and third, go straight to the fourth. There's a farm. There's a bit with a farm. That's
Yeah.
all you need to know for those 2 seasons.
Yeah.
There's a bit with a farm. I think someone dies.
Like
Probably not.
the old guy.
Yeah, the old
his
geezer
farm.
guy dies, but he's pretty fucking irritating anyway.
Yeah, the farm, there was some pretty crazy scenes happening there.
I would say
plot twists.
Fear the Walking Dead, the first episode alone did feel a lot like it was inspired by 28 Days Later, which explains why you would probably like latch onto that, because you said that's one of your favorite zombie movies, right?
Yeah, I don't think it felt.
Well, like even just like the way it started out and the location and stuff, right? Because
Not
he
really,
woke
'cause
up in a church, didn't he? Like Nick?
He did, yeah, but then he walked outside and there was still people everywhere.
I don't think so.
Which are you
Yeah,
talking
he got
about?
hit by a car. And that's how he ended up in hospital.
On which?
Oh,
Fear the
fuck,
Walking
you're
Dead.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that show definitely. I need to revisit that
But yeah,
one.
that's
'cause-
what I mean. He walks out because the girl that he was with overdosed and then turned.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No, I gotcha.
You
Fuck.
do need fact checking. Holy shit, man.
Just on stuff I haven't seen in like
Fucking full on liability.
6 years, man.
Yeah, so Mexicans don't exist. Yeah, all right, Kenny.
I mean,
Let me Google that.
we can all agree that the Holocaust was a myth, though, right?
Oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Have you watched anything else, Patrick, besides that?
No.
Well,
Yeah, literally nothing at all.
that's fair. Sometimes you just need to step away from all the bullshit that's out there.
Yeah, man.
Sadly, I did not step away from all the bullshit, and I found myself plowing through a full season of like one of the most bullshit ABC Family looking shows I've ever seen in my life. It's this new show that's on Netflix. It's starring Samwise from fucking Lord of the Rings and the original Sabrina. Those are the parents.
yeah. Tori
It's a
started
show-
watching
It's
that.
a show called No Good Nick. And it's about this little girl who kind of cons her way into a rich family's home, pretending that she's like the child of a long lost relative who died. And the plan is that her and her foster parents are gonna rob them blind, but she ends up like realizing she would rather have like an actual family. And it's a show.
It sounds fucking awful, mate.
It's basically like if
Sounds like Fuller House.
yeah, that's the best way to explain it. Actually, it's so much like Fuller House. So if you like that, it's fine. But it's like I just had it on while I was playing Far Cry because I had the TV set up and I just threw something on Netflix, and I found myself like fucking 6 hours later. It's like the show is finished, and I'm like, did I just watch this entire show, not even realizing? And it's just
I can barely watch Friends. Never mind that shit.
Yeah, man. I don't know how I do it. I think it's because I have like something else on the go that I can kind of zone out and zone back in and just be like, oh, that's a storyline, I guess.
That's fair, I think.
But yeah,
I don't know.
if you like Fuller House and ABC Family shows or whatever, I'd say it's like something that you could probably watch with a kid if you have a kid, and it would be at least somewhat entertaining for the adults to watch with it. But like,
With
it's
it.
got like characters that are like.
If your child isn't it.
It's got like a character that, so there's like a teenage girl who's like in grade 9 or 10, and she's like an activist and she's trying to save the world. So she's doing like these fundraisers for fucking like Save the Turtles and stuff like that, right? But she has to post about it on Instagram because it's a competition with her friends. Like that's like one of the characters, and it's like that type of show. So if you don't like that shit, don't watch it. Yeah, there's other shit. I got my Tales from the Crypt complete series DVDs in the mail. I watched the first episode. It was actually pretty fucking great. I've never seen that show before. I don't know if you guys have, but
Nope.
it's like a phenomenal TV series based on that one episode alone so far that I've seen, the very first one. I'm excited to go through this and maybe talk about some of the episodes with you guys, and maybe I'll make you watch a few once I go through it and find the best ones, because if it's like any anthology shows, there's going to be a lot of crap, but
That's fine. I can watch that. So just remember, if you bring out Fast and the Furious, I will be quitting the podcast immediately.
what about Hobbs and Shaw? That's not technically a Fast and the Furious movie.
I'll quit.
Fucking God.
Patrick, are you familiar with the musician Robert Johnson?
Is that
Robert Johnson.
Is that the blues
Yeah.
guitar player?
Wow,
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
I was gonna watch that documentary.
I am not familiar with it, no.
There's a 43-minute documentary on Netflix now that they just released. I think it's like Robert Johnson, The Crossroads something singer.
The guy who met the devil or something.
It's basically about the guy who he was like one of the first amazing blues artists,
Guitar players.
So what happened was he kind of started playing gigs. He was gigging around, and he wasn't like the greatest
He was
guitar player and
very
singer.
young, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like 20, something like that, and he wasn't anything special. And then he disappeared for like 2 years, and he came back, and he played a gig with like somebody who like recognized him. It was like, oh, I used to play gigs with this guy. You should check this out. He's like kind of shit. The guy gets up on stage and he plays a set that blows everybody's mind. This dude just like is playing shit that they'd never even considered playing on the guitar at that time. Like he was just unreal. And then rumors started happening that he had sold his soul to the devil to become a better musician. This is like the origin story of that, right? So he met the devil at the crossroad, and all of his songs were about the devil and running from hellhounds, and there's a price for his soul.
I think that's
and
based on a story. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called The Pick of Destiny.
yeah.
It's a very, very interesting tale of brotherhood and dick push-ups. Yeah. You should check it out. That's very good. Very factual.
That I think it would be interesting if we did like a musical month where we each found like Pick a Destiny and shit like that. But
well, if you can name one other movie that I would maybe consider watching in that category.
I fucking hate musicals.
I have a few that we could probably watch that would be entertaining enough on the list. But yeah, so I was watching that, and it's pretty interesting. It's all about like the origin of like the urban legend and who he really was and stuff, and his impact on blues music, which it's like a pretty interesting story if you're into music.
Fair.
I also watched Avengers Endgame. I'm not going to say any spoilers, but I cried more during that movie than I have at any funeral I've ever been to.
What a bitch.
Yeah, man.
I feel bad for your relatives.
You look really sad just talking about it.
I was gonna say,
more inanimate fucking characters.
My fucking relatives better step up their game and make more of an impact on me than Iron Man in the past 11 years then, I guess.
I don't understand the fucking obsession with it. I feel like the fan base is getting a bit wild now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like with anything, though. You have fanatics that are just like too much.
There's like people getting the shit beat out of them outside of theaters because they're spoiling it, apparently.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
that's
honestly though, it's like if you think about it this way, for that, it's people have had this build up for the past 11 years, 22 movies, and it's all came to this. This is like your conclusion to a book. And somebody just comes out and tells you the very last fucking most important detail that happens in it.
So are you telling me from 11 years ago,
2008.
They started planning?
2008 was the first Iron Man movie, and they were planning an Avengers universe and fighting this guy. And they didn't know how specifically it would end, but yeah, they were planning all of this back then. And that's why it's such a big deal for people, because everything is, if you actually watch the Marvel movies, they have everything planned pretty well where you can call back into other movies and it all basically makes sense. So, but like you said, you have to be like a super fan fucking nerd to pick up on a lot of stuff and enjoy it. Because continuity is like a big part of those movies. And that's like, I think the difference between DC movies is they'll do one, and if people don't like it, they'll basically just pretend like it never happened and just make another movie. So it's like if you can go 11 years continuing the same story build up, and the payoff is Avengers Endgame, and it's literally just 3 hours of like the final chapter in a story. It's, yeah, I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it. So if people tell you that last ending, you're gonna be pissed about it.
Yeah, I suppose.
But yeah, anyways, if you haven't seen Endgame, I would recommend going to watch it if you're on the fence about it. And then lastly, I watched Bohemian Rhapsody for the first time. Have you guys seen that one?
Nope.
I'm actually pretty surprised with how much I liked this movie. I'm not like a huge Queen fan. I've never really found much inspiration in like Freddie Mercury or anything like that, but after watching that movie, I've actually like grown to appreciate their music and him as a musician a bit more. So yeah,
it was a good watch.
incredibly talented.
It's another one of those movies where I definitely recommend to watch if you're interested in music and music history and stuff like that.
I don't know
'cause-
if I'd ever watch it again.
Yeah.
But
It's
I watch
definitely
it,
like
yeah.
if it's on Netflix or something, it's definitely worth throwing on. It's a long fucking movie though. It felt so long.
Yeah, I went to it in theaters, and it felt like a long time.
Avengers was a 3-hour
good, though.
movie, and it was over like that. Bohemian Rhapsody is less than that, and I felt like I was up there for like 4 hours watching that movie. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I've been watching. When we get back, we are going to discuss the movie this week, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, an Andy Sedaris film, and also the movie trailers for Murder Mystery, the new Adam Sandler film, which I know Patrick's excited for. The new Men in Black trailer. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but we'll talk about it. And then Sonic the Hedgehog. So we'll be right back to tell you guys about those potential disasters.
Yeah, man.
Play that fucking tranny trick.
Or in this case, didn't, because they didn't successfully murder anybody. They shot at a lot of people, but we're nothing more than a snitch, which we will talk about on this week's episode. We're covering Hard Ticket to Hawaii, potentially the worst movie we've ever covered on the podcast.
Good fucking Christ, man. I feel exhausted.
So the very first thing we'll do, just to get it out of the way, is I'll get you guys both to give your rating for this movie, and I think it's safe to assume you both regret watching this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you rate this 1 to 5?
0.
0.
Holy shit, the first 0. You didn't get anything out of that.
Literally not a thing.
No, it was fucking horrible.
Damn.
It's a waste of time.
Okay, well, I'm glad I could.
I'm actually quite a bit pissed off at you for making us watch that.
Well, you'll get your revenge on me next week when I watch Hereditary.
Yeah, people like that movie.
Well, apparently people like this movie as well, which I don't really understand because my rating would probably be about like a 0.5, but that's solely just for like the 5-minute clip show you could probably cut together for the bullshit, like crazy absurd kills. Yeah, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, if you haven't seen it, is essentially a softcore porno under the veil of a movie. We didn't realize, well, I didn't realize that, but okay, you guys. 4.6 out of 10 on IMDb. 17% Rotten Tomato score. 72% of Google users liked this movie.
That's the lowest Google uses so far.
That's still pretty fucking high. Before we get too far talking about this and the porno that we just watched, we're going to talk about the trailers that we watched, which is, I don't know, hit or miss, I think. But
They were all misses.
you think so?
Yeah, I'm relatively certain they were all.
Okay, well, let's start with the Adam Sandler movie. Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston in a movie called Murder Mystery, I believe it was called. How do you guys feel about this?
I probably won't go to it in theaters, but
It's straight to Netflix movie.
yeah, okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'll probably wait for the DVD.
Yeah, you're not a Adam Sandler fan, right?
No,
Is there any Adam Sandler movies that you can say?
older stuff.
So like
yes.
Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore.
Before he started making stuff for kids.
Right. So you wouldn't even give this one a shot then, you don't think?
Nah, that's it.
To me, I think it looks like it's something I would probably just throw on and sit through. I mean, I sat through a whole fucking ABC Family show, though. So.
It'll be better than this piece of shit movie we just watched.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, so the second movie trailer we watched was for Men in Black, the new Men in Black that's coming out.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Men in Black? Well, let's start with Patrick, because I have an idea of how Kyle feels about it. Have you seen the Men in Black movies
Yeah,
before?
I've seen all 3 of them. I love Men in Black. I think it's a great set of movies. Why the fuck do you need to remake another one? For fuck's sake, it's so stupid. Give me one good reason why you need another Men in Black.
You need to empower females. It's no longer the Men in Black, Patrick.
You know,
It's the men and women in black.
when Will Smith said no to doing another one, they should have been like, all right, we're done.
Did you
But
guys?
wait, right. So it's about empowering women, but the person in charge of the whole fucking thing is a woman and always has been a woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck you, man. Nah. You don't need to remake another one. Like, the CGI for the rest of the movies was fucking top notch.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not like they've got some drastic shit to improve on either.
And I hate how they added a little cute character that's gonna follow the bitch around the whole movie.
yeah. I do have to say the first Men in Black movie is probably one of the few movies that I can rewatch over and over again and still laugh at and
Yeah.
still enjoy.
It's good. It's
The
very
second
good.
one I don't remember liking that much. The third one I liked surprisingly quite a bit.
Yeah,
but
I was also worried about the third one and the whole concept of it, but it was pretty decent. They were all really, really good fucking watches.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
as soon as I have a kid and they're old enough to understand space and shit, that's probably like the first thing.
How
we have
old
to
was
watch.
I when I watched the first one?
I feel
and
like
fell
we
in love with
watched
it?
them when we were fairly young, probably when
Right.
it came out.
But like the difference between that is that first one wasn't made for kids, really.
Yeah, the first one is actually dark as hell.
Right? But this one is made for kids. You can tell it's made for kids.
I think the trailer that they're giving us makes it look like it's made for kids. I feel like it'll probably be a little bit more like not R-rated, but a little bit more like 14A PG-13 than we realize.
It's going to be garbage.
I'm looking forward to this one, to be honest.
So the first Men in Black came out in 1997.
I was going to say 98, but yeah, you were probably about 6. Kyle loved Men in Black so much that my parents bought him a suit from the secondhand store, and he walked around with sunglasses and the
Okay.
suit on all the time.
This was okay. So what I asked for Christmas was to be a be in Men in Black. So my dad bought me a fucking suit, a black suit. He made it all really nice. He made like a little logo that said Men in Black, and then he made a pen that had and put a fucking light in it.
That's
So that I could,
amazing.
yeah. So
What a
at
fucking hero.
Christmas time, we were out at my grandma's walking around in the park, and everyone was wearing all their fucking snow clothes, and I was wearing a suit.
Yeah, Men in Black had a big impact on us, which is kind of why I'm open to this new one. And I gotta say, like, I like Liam Neeson, I like Chris Hemsworth. I'm not sure how I feel about the girl's swagger. It just feels like she's almost trying to copy Will Smith's character too much in the character aspect. But yeah, I don't know. I'm open to it. I'm kind of trying to be optimistic about it, but I get your hesitancy. And then the third trailer that we watched was Sonic the Hedgehog, which Patrick just shaking his
Like,
head.
they should have learnt their fucking lesson, because every game they've released since the first one they put out on fucking Dreamcast or Nintendo has been god awful.
It was Sega, just to correct you. The reason I'm correcting that is because in the trailer, they even go out of the way to reference Sega with a fucking tagline that says, like, every new story has a Genesis. That's like their fucking throwback to the Sega Genesis.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought was pretty fucking stupid.
Hey, in Men in Black, I think it was the first one where Will Smith like first finds like or realizes there's aliens, and he's against that guy, and his eyes like blink sideways. Is that Seth Green?
No. No, it's a different guy with orange spiky hair. But I can see why you think it would be Seth Green. Yeah. So Sonic the Hedgehog, the trailer released, and I saw a video about it, I think a couple weeks ago I showed Patrick. It was a guy at IGN. Basically, they saw the premiere of it.
I didn't think it was real.
Yeah.
When you showed me that video, I genuinely thought the guy was taking the piss.
It was a guy reading the script about what the trailer was about and just rolling his eyes the whole time and not laughing about all the beats that were supposed to be funny. And then as the trailer started rolling, I started to realize it was literally exactly what the guy was reading, and I was like, oh my god, this cannot be fucking real.
Fucking Christ. Well, he mentioned stuff like Jim Carrey, and I was like, no way Jim Carrey would be in a movie
Right.
like this.
And like, okay, have you seen Parks and Rec much?
Yeah.
Do you know the character John Ralphio?
Yes.
He's like one of the best parts of that show. One of the funniest guys in the world, Ben
Yeah.
Schwartz. I've always wanted to see him in more stuff. He's who's voicing Sonic the Hedgehog.
He would have been a better Eggman.
So I think the issue here is Ben Schwartz's career is probably going to be in a bit of a pickle.
It's
going
to fucking tank.
Which
it already
sucks,
has tanked
because
everyone knows this is going to be fucking garbage.
I think this is going to be just like Hellboy all over again, where they're going to try and hype it up, and then as soon as it releases, the scores are going to be so low, nobody's going to go.
because Hellboy had a solid foundation to build upon. Sonic's foundation's already fucking crumbled.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. It's like building a house on a fucking sand pit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot of Sonic fans out there.
Oh, there is, yeah. But they've all been fuming at everything that's come out recently.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I think it's safe to say none of us are going to go see Sonic in theaters.
Well, I don't know.
You might?
I might just get off my fucking tits beforehand and then go.
Yeah, maybe we should just take a bunch of edibles and go.
Yeah, man.
Maybe that'll be something we'll do for the podcast and do a recording on that.
I don't know if I could watch it at the movies, though, because there'd probably be moments where I would be uncontrollably laughing and, like, crying.
That's okay. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. We'll be the only ones in the theater.
Fuck you.
Okay, so those were the trailers we watched this week. If you guys do find any trailers that you want me to set up for next week, just send me the links or whatever. Same with the listeners. It's nice to have some stuff that you guys might be excited for if you see anything to throw my way and we can discuss it. So yeah, Hard Ticket to Hawaii came out in 1987. There is zero info on the budget or the gross of this movie.
Because they're embarrassed.
I will say that this movie was 100% gross. We'll leave it at that.
Well, any of the budget that was there,
Well,
5% went on actors and 95% went on the snake.
I think it's probably about 60% probably went to renting an island in Hawaii.
Oh, they didn't have to rent it, did they? I reckon that guy's probably got fucking shares in it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I can record a movie and get some tits on this."
Yeah,
He's a fucking slime ball.
He is. When you think of like a Hollywood dirtbag that tries to take advantage of like women,
Yeah.
This is the guy that there is, because
Those girls were probably his daughters.
He looks like the sort of guy that would try and sell you a broken car and a house that was falling apart both at the same time.
right, and then try and hook up with your girlfriend in the back of it.
No, your
and then-
daughter.
Your daughter, yeah. Your 10-year-old daughter.
Doesn't matter to him.
I think it matters. I think they have to have fake tits. I think that's the standard for this.
Some
guy.
of those fucking things weren't fake. They were just gigantic.
I don't think any of them were fake in that movie.
There were definitely some that were fake, for sure.
So here's something that we haven't done in a while, just because it's kind of hard to keep track of. But with a movie like this, where 90% of it was so slow that it gave us enough downtime to just sit at a notebook and write some shit. I did a kill count and a titty count for this one. So Hard Ticket to Hawaii had 11 titties. That's not counting the entire selection of replays of like all the nude scenes that they did at the credits, which I thought was kind of indicative of this guy's filmmaking choices. The kill count though was I think 13 for the people. The snake got 3 kills, and then there was 1 killing of the snake, and then there was also, rest in peace, the death of a blow-up doll, which so tragic.
Very sad indeed.
Hard Ticket to Hawaii, I made note because we had to watch this with subtitles because the audio was such shit.
It sounded like it was recorded both with and through a potato.
So, Hard Ticket to Hawaii had one of the best soundtracks in the movies that we've watched in recent times, including mega hits like the song Hard Ticket to Hawaii. Also, mega hits such as ominous music, eerie music, pleasant music, foreboding music.
Hold up 1 second, because I would like to. like to go through all of the genres of music according to Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Well, we can't forget Kyle's favorite suspenseful music. That was
So the ones that I picked up were ominous,
yep,
peaceful, faint beat,
Right, that was the best.
suspenseful, thudding, engine rumbling, foreboding, military, and exciting.
And buzzing.
Did it actually say military music?
Yeah, it 100% said military music.
Oh man. This is a movie that honestly, like, upon revisiting, now that I know what I'm in for, I made a game out of this. I wrote down some rules for a game. So if you have gone to movies like The Room, they have games that they play upon viewing. So I think if you were to do a screening of this with rules similar to this that we could maybe expand upon, it would make this movie potentially worth watching or able to get through. Watching it on its own, I think it would be similar to watching The Room on your own, where it would be just like impossible to get through. Imagine watching that movie by yourself in the living room.
No.
You would not be able to get through it.
It was bad enough watching it with you two in your living room.
Well, I mean The Room.
Same.
Yeah, well, okay. We didn't watch it, but... so I wrote down some rules here, and we're going to run through some of these rules, and you guys can tell me if you think it would be a yay or a nay for a fun game to play when watching this movie. Every time the server Ashley is introduced and he greets somebody, you have to yell, "Aloha, Ashley," instead of "Hi, Mark."
I don't know who those people are.
You don't know who Ashley is?
Ashley's like the pervy.
He's the guy
Dude.
server who was hitting on everybody.
Alright, yeah. That's a yay. Fine.
Aloha, Ashley.
Yep.
Every time a guy makes a misogynistic remark or hits on a woman, you say, "Classic chauvinism."
That's too much.
Yeah, that's too much. Reel it back in. Next rule.
What could we change that one? How could we tweak it so it would be fun? Because there's a lot of fucking
You could just say
pervy remarks
classic.
in this movie.
Shout dicks out.
Dicks out. That's it.
Well, you can actually get your dick out if you want. It doesn't mind.
You guys ever see that video of that guy?
Most of the guys will have him out anyways for this movie.
Yeah, it was
You're
like
sitting there watching it alone. You're,
one of those
you
porno
got your dick
theaters
out.
they shut down in New York. You guys ever see that video of that guy? He's wearing a snake hat and he goes, "I'm a snake."
Yeah.
Every time the snake is on screen, you just go, and ominous music is playing, you just yell, "I'm a snake."
The snake was on screen 4 times.
12.
12?
12 times, not including all the scenes, the 10-minute scenes of it just being in a box. But every time it's like lurking around, you just go, "I'm a snake."
I think it'd be more fun if everyone just started screaming, "Fuck!" Fucking snake! Fuck!
Every time somebody yells, "Where are the diamonds?" you either yell, "Where are the diamonds?" or you say, "Come on down to People's Jewelers. We got plenty of diamonds."
Could shout the freezer. That's where they actually were.
There you go. Every time the plane lands, you yell, "Coming in hot."
I'd fucking duck.
That's what you would yell as duck?
No, I'd literally duck. I'd be fucking terrified.
Everybody ducks in their seats?
Yeah.
I just thought, because every fucking time you're like, what the fuck? That's just coming in so
It's
fast.
Fucking, I'd get in the brace position that they have on the instruction forms on all the flights.
She's just fucking flying and lands on a grass patch.
She fucking gives it some, man.
And then she gets to a parking lot somehow.
Oh, move on because I'm going to get riled.
Every time there's tits, you just yell, "Where's your shirt?"
Yeah, no, I like that.
Every time, what's his name, does kung fu moves and stuff, the one dude that was always shirtless,
Oh, yeah.
you just go, "Hoi-ah!" every time he does like a chop or
I
something.
feel like that'd get out of hand. I only saw him do a couple karate moves as well.
Oh, and you would also do that when there's like that random fucking scene with the nunchuck chick posing with her nunchucks. She's all sweaty and greased
I
up.
didn't understand that. It was like we had a clip of a little female bodybuilding competition.
The classic The Room rule where you clap with the sex music. I feel like that would be.
I feel like my arms would get very tired.
There's like 4 sex scenes in this movie
Yeah,
at
they
least.
lasted a while.
Every time Shades does the frisbee trick, you yell, "Ooh, ah, ooh." The under the leg catch. Ooh.
Jesus, I fucking. What was he? It was like an 11-year-old trying to show off to like.
It was like playing frisbee with Kyle. Realistically.
I just didn't understand. I can fucking do that, and I'm garbage at frisbee.
Kyle has no feedback on these because he's never been to the room.
This movie's fucking horrible. That's all I can say.
He's not wrong.
I will not sit through it again.
Ones you have to quote is, this is for the Malachi Cops when he throws the frisbee. Life's a bitch and then you die is another one you got to say.
Yeah, that's not a famous saying.
Not
was
the
in the
beads.
movie.
You yell, not the beads.
I did like that quote.
And then somebody yells.
No, he didn't say not the beads. He literally just said, my beads.
But then you would yell, not the beads. And then he goes, my mother gave those to me. And then you would yell, his mother gave those to him. Come on, that would be fucking classic.
Yeah, I guess.
This is probably my favorite one that I've written down. Every time the guy busts out the rocket launcher, you sing Rocket Man. You just go, he's a rocket man.
You'd be singing that a lot.
5 times.
You'd be singing that a whole bunch of times.
Just when you thought it was safe to take a pee, I thought was a funny quote. And then you could also probably quote, why would you bring a knife to a gunfight? That's another...
Yeah, I guess. That's not very
another one.
unique to the movie, though.
Yeah. So if you haven't guessed from just those rules, it's pretty much the only entertaining thing that you could possibly do with this movie is make a game out of watching it.
Yeah, man, fuck me sideways. It was
Yeah.
absolutely fucking awful.
I'm pretty fucking miserable right now.
So the movie opens with a porno. Do you remember that, Kyle? Where they're on the yacht?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just get Kyle's opinion on some things. What are some things that you really hated about this movie?
How long was the movie?
I don't even know.
Too long.
Yeah. The whole movie.
Oh, I have one more rule that you could add.
Yeah.
As soon as when you get into the theater and the opening credits start, if you take the gun by the side of your seat, just point it to the roof of your mouth and pull the trigger.
Right. You could do that, but also at the screening, we will be supplying
launchers.
cyanide-laced Kool-Aid for everybody to
Fair.
enjoy.
So not the over-incompensated fucking rocket launcher.
Right. Also, much like in the room where they play catch with the football, you could play catch with a frisbee.
Yeah, but all the frisbees have razor blades on them.
Exactly. For when you're done watching the movie, you can just take some time there. Yeah, some of the deaths. It opens with essentially 2 cops one cop admitting he's been corrupt and he's been like letting weed dealers go by because they've been giving him little packages here and there.
Yeah, but then the weed dealers come on the screen and they kill him.
But they aren't the weed dealers. There's somebody else involved with the weed dealers.
So who are the weed dealers?
That's the question. I think it was they were like either killing the weed dealers or something because the guy goes, "This looks like bad news. Let's leave." And he's a fucking cop. But he eventually gets killed by Shades with the nose hair. There's this guy. He has 2-way mirror sunglasses.
An obscene amount of nose hair.
And a lot of nose hair.
But
And
it's blonde hair, so you know there's a lot of it because you can't usually see blonde hairs.
Right.
But then it was fucking rammed.
And he's always got his nose turned up so you can only see the bat cave going on. The intro credits was like the only thing in this movie that was kind of redeeming for me because I thought it was like pretty creative for the time to do the intro credits with like a filming of like being taped to the boxes and moved around. It made it more creative than like say when we watched Pet Sematary and was literally 10 minutes of just the credits over top of just a shot of the cemetery.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My favourite part was when one of the gals said, "Is your nose bigger than your dick?"
She said that to Ashley, didn't she?
Yeah.
Because he asked her to sit on his face.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed that as a comeback. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, that was a pretty good comeback.
Yeah.
There was a few zingers in this movie.
I think my favorite part was probably the skateboarder.
Yeah, the bazooka one.
Yeah, but that whole thing was unnecessary.
They said the guy who did the skateboarding was Russell Howell.
Who's that?
I don't know, some skateboarder that does like stunt skateboarding. I guess I just looked it up.
The skateboarder. What did he say? I'm trying to find the quote I wrote down here, where it was like, he must be smoking heavy doobies.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. He must be smoking heavy doobies. Patrick, how about you tell us some of the things that you wrote down that you wanted to discuss? Because I got a list here as well.
Well, you go first. We'll talk through it, and I'll cross some of mine off if you already talked about it.
So, the snake said danger contaminated on the box, which conveniently got pulled off when the guy purposely drove his forklift through the packaging.
Yep.
And just tore it off and drove away like nothing happened. One of the things that I think is ridiculous about this movie is one of the girls, Taryn, who we come to find out is in some sort of witness protection program, but is also deputized, I guess, because she all of a sudden has like a license to kill from the cop that's supposed to be...
I feel like fucking anything goes on this island.
Yeah, you're not kidding, especially later on when we meet a guy named Whitey who meets up with a lady of the night, and she says, "You practically raped me last night." Yeah. And he responded with, "That was last night, this is today."
She said that quite loud, and no one seemed to bother.
Welcome to 1987. Holy shit. That was like the first sign of this movie where I like looked at you guys and was like, what the fuck are we in for?
Also, that guy was fucking pointless too in that whole, whole movie.
I think that whole point was just
he just sat
the director.
in that bar. He just sat in the bar for fucking 2 days or what?
I think the whole purpose was just the director trying to write his character in somehow, right? He's like, I still got to be a fucking douchey dude who like comes off a little rapey, even in the movie. One thing that Patrick did like about the movie was the Hard Ticket to Hawaii banging theme song, though.
Yeah, it was a jam, that.
Your first question was, has anybody got Shazam?
Well, I didn't know if it was like an actual song or not.
If you would have been looking up, you would have saw it in the subtitles.
I thought that was great.
I was too busy making this masterpiece.
Yeah, well.
Oh, that's a beautiful fucking drawing. Holy shit.
Yeah, man.
Maybe I'll post a picture of that on Instagram.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. It'd get taken down pretty quick. There's both boobs and a penis above a nose. So
one of the genius random ass plot lines in this movie, that one of the 7 plot lines, I guess, or subplots, is I just wrote wrong snake.
Yep.
So they take the wrong snake to the island, and
the snake was not important in this movie whatsoever.
Well, it was in the fact that the bad guy in the movie was afraid of the snake and shot at it from 25 feet away.
Yeah, that wouldn't be my initial reaction to seeing a snake. I wouldn't open fire on it.
Right, but this is no normal snake. This was, and I quote, a snake that was infested with deadly toxins from deadly
rats.
Toxins from cancer-infested rats.
Who made that up?
And like, you're like, hey, the snake has cancer. You're not going to get cancer from a snake that has cancer.
But you're not going to... Oh, fuck this movie, dude. Fuck it.
Okay, so then there's the one scene where the girls are patrolling the area and there's like a fucking RC helicopter flying about. And
that thing was fucking stupid. There's no fucking way that managed to get from what seemed to be the middle of the pissing ocean in the 80s, bear in mind, where remote control cars had the range of a fucking baby.
Right.
And this thing flew from the ocean onto land. How the fuck did he know where it was going? And also, how the fuck did the wind not just carry the
and also, who the
plastic
fuck
away?
was flying it? Not one person had a remote control.
No,
apparently that guy
Mr.
with his little
Chang.
staff and his little
that's
thumb
fucking
piece.
bullshit. I don't believe that one bit.
You have one control on that, and it's up.
Are you guys referring to the Bond villain ripoff, Mr. Chang?
Fucking Mr. Chang can suck a nut.
Who later on was revealed to be who had a Chinese father and a British mother, because everybody who'd watched the movie was baffled by the white guy named Mr. Chang.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the girls find the helicopter and it has diamonds in it, and Shades from earlier, who blew the 2 cops away. Him and his 2 homies roll up on these girls. And one of the girls just happens to have a fucking ninja star in her...
No, he didn't. Shades didn't roll up on them. It was just the 2 guys.
Well,
yeah, it was
2 homies.
Skateboardy guy and the...
the fat dude.
Yeah, the other guy.
Skeleton earring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she has a ninja star with her and she fucking throws it at a guy who's...
Also, how the fuck are you carrying a Ninja Star around in your boot like that?
Yeah, there's no way.
No
that was
holster or
comfortable.
anything.
No way that was comfortable. If I have a fucking stone in my shoe, I'm losing my fucking mind.
But also, like, what's up with like the amount of like Asian weaponry in this movie between the nunchucks and the ninja stars and stuff? Like, there's no nod to that at all. It's literally just a house of props that they had, and just threw in the movie.
Probably all fucking cheap from the garbage movies that came out around that time.
We're also gonna have to touch on the amount of like gratuitous scenes that were put in for no reason, like one of the girls doing her makeup. Also, a scene where they find the diamonds but can only inspect them naked in a jacuzzi for some reason.
Yep.
Well, because
Rather than on the spot.
they said that she thinks better when she's in the jacuzzi.
Yeah, that makes sense. Topless in the jacuzzi is where you get your thinking done. How do you, actually, Kyle, you have a jacuzzi. Do you find that's the way that works for you too?
Well, I always go in topless.
That's fair. I guess I shouldn't be sexist. And then it cuts to the two guys doing karate on the boat, like 40 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, no, the main character isn't the main character in this.
He's a fucking wuss, dude.
I strongly think that he, through his acting career, probably believed that he should have grown a pair of tits because he just wasn't getting enough time.
Right.
It's like the opposite version of the wage gap.
In what sense?
The fact that he doesn't have boobs.
Okay.
And the people that do are getting way more screen time.
Yeah, I mean, with this director, I mean, yeah, I think they just threw that in to maybe appease the ladies. I don't know, or just to have something to watch when the girls get naked.
This whole fucking thing is so the director can maintain his chub on. That's the only reason. He's sat there the whole fucking time just rubbing his jeans.
You know why all the scenes were so shitty in this movie? Is because he spent fucking hours and hours with all the nude scenes.
Yeah.
Because all the nude scenes were probably the best shot
Yeah.
scenes in this movie.
There was more storyline in those than there was anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That fucking...
The dude should have just made porn
Yeah.
instead of this.
He was close enough to it that he should
Yeah.
have just stuck with his guns there.
That scene on the boat, though, was kind of a big deal because that's when you first start to realize, like, the girls are getting too overwhelmed on the island. They sent out a notice to the agency, which I think is run out of Edie's restaurant.
Of course, yeah.
There's a snake on the loose on the island, and there's no snakes on the island, so that's check number one. And number two, the marijuana drug dealers are killing people for diamonds. So that's check number two. So they have to send out for backup. And of course, the two women can't handle it on their own. So they have to send out for two men who are practicing karate on a boat
and
to come out and save the day.
Yeah, they're fucking useless.
So the way they send the message is they send in a fucking skip the dishes guy on a fucking moped to drop off a sandwich. And the sandwich has a note in it, which they read and then put back in the sandwich and light on fire.
He reads it, and then there's I remember it as a good minute and a half of him fumbling with the fucking box.
And the lighter.
It's literally like the guy was editing it, and then someone came in the room, and they were like, "Oh, Steve, just have a quick look at this for us." And he's like, "Yeah, no problem." Oh, fuck, I need to stop that, actually.
He's like, "What do I do with the note?" And they're like, "Well, just put it back in the box." Like, I don't know, you got to light it on fire.
Yeah,
you don't want to hold it.
It's like he fucking completely forgot what he was supposed to do with the note, and then the other guy just below the camera started slapping his hand and putting it back in the box.
Yeah, and then they light the note on fire, and then you see the styrofoam container.
They
starts
put
to
it
melt.
back in the fucking sandwich. And then, why? It's not part of the ingredients. He's not going to take it back and deliver it somewhere else, is he, you fucking mong?
Well, I think the fucking funniest part, too, of that scene was the one guy was like, "Why couldn't he have put it in a spring roll? I'm really hungry." And it's like...
How are you going to eat the spring roll if it's full of paper?
If you're hungry, why don't you just fucking eat the sandwich instead of light the note on fire in the sandwich?
Because the main ingredient in the sandwich was paper.
Yeah, it was like a piece of bread.
The only thing I saw was lettuce.
Well, I'm saying, like, beggars can't be choosers if you're that fucking hungry.
They're not beggars.
That guy was begging. That dude was fucking bitching about being starving.
They are on a yacht. They're doing just fine.
Well, they rush out to save the day, and then it cuts to a scene of the girls in a bedroom, where they are talking about the Miami Express poster that happens to be hanging on the wall, which also happens to be this director's movie previous to this, which I believe was also starring one of the girls. So there's a little bit of meta stuff in there where there's a poster of one of the girls on her wall in a movie that this guy made. It was weird. It was almost like he purposely put that in there to toot his own horn.
He made 12 of these.
He made way more than 12. He's just redoing 12 to put out again.
Well, at the intro of this, he said that he had 12 of them.
Yeah, so there's 12 in this series. But I believe he's made way more than 12. I think I looked it up. There was like a pack of his movies, and I think there was something like 29 of them in a pack that you can get for like $5 on Amazon.
So to put in perspective how shit this movie was, right? If I knew how shit this movie was going to be,
right,
I would have rather eaten a small nugget of my own shit. No, I shit you not, I fucking swear to God, to avoid watching this movie and just having a night to myself, I would have literally eaten a small nugget of poo.
Yeah, the things you do for the podcast, man.
Not the podcast, just the fucking movie.
So we're gonna check all of Kenny's picks from now on.
Oh no, this was like the only one that I was itching to sneak in there before you guys.
Well, I'm not talking
this.
like a full log of shit. I'm talking like a small nugget.
I'm not eating my shit, Patrick.
I'm not saying we should.
I'm not even asking you to eat your shit. You're like offering to eat your shit.
I'm just.
You could have just been like. Yeah. I mean, can we watch something else instead?
Yeah, Patrick, you go ahead. We'll post it on our Instagram page. Everyone, go to our Instagram page and check it out.
I don't need to shit yet.
I can shit a bit.
No, enough a
little nugget.
Weirdly, eating your shit is worse than me eating my shit.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll tell you. Would you rather eat your own shit or some other random shit? You couldn't see the person who shat it out.
Or would you rather watch this movie?
I wouldn't eat shit. I'd rather watch the movie.
No, that wasn't an option. Kenny just added that. You either eat someone else's poo or your own poo.
Well, obviously, I'd eat my own.
Right? Why? It's poo.
Because I know where it came from.
Well, it still came from someone else. I would do the exact same thing, but I do not know why. You're still eating shit.
Well, speaking of eating shit, we just watched Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Okay, Patrick, you get to prepare for it, right? So you can eat whatever you want, so you know what your shit is going to be.
No, you don't know the day that you're going to have to eat the shit.
Oh, I'd still eat my own shit.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of eating
Kenny,
shit
what would you
and
do?
Hard Ticket to Hawaii, there's a scene where the girls have to stash the diamonds somewhere, so they put them in the freezer, and then burglars show up, and Patrick pointed out that one of the guys had nylons on his face.
No, it wasn't that. It was that he looked very, very sad.
I know.
He just looked very upset to either be in the movie. It's like he walked in the door and he saw me and said, "Oh, I'm real sorry, man. Is he making you watch this?"
He was probably like, when do I get to do the sex scene? And they're like, oh man, you're just a robber. And
Yeah.
really sad.
He stood there with like a full fucking tent ready to go.
He was like reading the script, and he's like, "So they're gonna put pantyhose on me? Is this like some sort of kink movie?"
He was sad because he just popped 2 Viagra and his fucking knob is just in his belt buckle, really straining.
So the big reason I mentioned this is because the 2 girls get attacked for the diamonds by 2 burglars who then grab some of the diamonds and escape to the big bad boss, who is afraid of the snake and is currently shooting at the snake at this time. And then the girl runs out with her gun and shoots him in the face, but he somehow lives because it like went through his cheek or some shit.
She just grazed him
in the mouth.
So yeah, that becomes a plot point because she shot the big baddie in the face, and now they're out for revenge and want the rest of the diamonds. So this is when we find out that homeboys finally get into town and are on their way to save the day. So they hop in a Jeep and start driving, and they're talking about how the one dudes... This is one of the few moments in this movie that actually made me chuckle, is one of the dudes who's driving the Jeep. He says something about, "Oh, that Edie, she's good looking. She reminds me of she's way better looking than my first wife." And he's like, yeah, she used to mow the lawn naked. And his buddy said, well, what did the neighbors say to that? And they're like, you obviously married her for the money because she's just so fucking ugly.
Yeah, I think I'd checked out.
Yeah,
at that point.
I thought that was a pretty fucking funny line. And then you were checked out, so I said, Patrick, you have to watch this scene because a guy comes rolling down the street in front of the Jeep doing a handstand on a skateboard. And this is probably Kyle's favorite scene in the movie. Kyle, do you wanna tell listeners what happens here?
Not at all.
I don't. Why is it necessary for him to do a handstand on a skateboard past the car, only to go back to the car that's on the other side of the fucking road,
Right.
to where his mate is, for them then to drive past them again?
To also have a blow-up doll with him to hide the shotgun, I'm presuming. But why a blow-up doll?
Oh yeah, they drive past him. I didn't know how he managed to get to the other side of the road again, but I forgot they drove for a little bit. They drove past him, then he skateboards back.
But like, why wouldn't you just drive by shotgun him if you're driving past anyways, rather than skateboard
he was
back?
Worried that they were going to shoot them because he had a fucking human hostage that clearly wasn't human because the skin was pink as shit.
Right.
So I have no idea, honestly. I don't know why I'm trying to make sense of it.
I don't understand that at all.
There's no need for me to justify this.
This scene, though, admittedly, is one of the only scenes in the movie that I think is worth watching. If you're out there, the skateboarder gets hit by the Jeep, flies a little bit into the air, not very high. Then the passenger of the Jeep pulls out a fucking rocket launcher, shoots a fucking bazooka at the guy, who blows up right in front of them. There's pieces of him everywhere, but there's no splatter on the Jeep or anywhere near them. And then he aims the rocket launcher at the blow-up doll that's also in the air and shoots the blow-up doll for some reason. And then they make a line later in the movie, like 5 minutes later, where the guy goes, where's the skateboard? And he goes, I don't know, I must have missed it. Indicating that he probably should have blown up the skateboard as well.
Yeah, I guess the skateboard was also a villain.
Well,
fun fact, Tony Hawk shared that whole scene on his Facebook account back in 2016.
really?
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, that skateboard ended up being infested with deadly toxins from cancer-infested rats. So that also goes on to be in the sequel of this movie.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh.
What are you? You've been smoking heavy doobies there, bro? And then we cut to, after the blow-up doll scene, we cut to a scene where we find out the bartender is actually a man that's been giving intel to the bad guys about the location of all the
Which
cops.
Kenny fucking loved.
Yeah, because he got to play his fucking theme song again.
Fucking picked this on. Did you know that?
But
Well, I feel like
this,
you did.
you
I
know
feel like
that?
this is
no,
the
not
only
not
fucking
until
reason.
not until like
This is the only reason, isn't it? You made us watch this so you could play your fucking theme song.
no, not legitimately not until yesterday when I was watching the best of the scenes again.
Patrick's fucking making fists.
I'm
Do you
livid,
guys
mate,
do you
livid.
guys remember how they figured out that the bartender was a man? Do you remember the line that was said?
Something about the tits. I don't know.
I recognized it was a man because I recognized the cigarette in his left hand. How does that? I don't.
You can
fucking
try
know.
and fucking make sense of this, but you are on your own,
Right.
sir.
The girls then go out and find the corpses of these newlyweds who were killed by the snake, completely obliterated by the snake. Like they looked like mush. That's when you know the snake is going to be a factor in the movie.
It's what cancer rats will do to you. Stay
Right.
safe, people.
Here's a line I wrote down from one of the sex scenes. One man's dream is another man's lunch.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Well, he's about to chow down, I guess, is the
It's obvious, Patrick.
thing there.
called
Kyle,
poetry.
fucking get back in your sleeping bag.
It's poetry.
You meth head.
Poetry.
No, this is poetry.
Shit ticket to Hawaii.
Shit ticket to Hawaii. Yeah.
Another amazing scene in this movie, I think, the whole reason I picked this movie to watch is the frisbee scene.
Yeah.
You gotta say
many
that frisbee scene.
How
was
many
fucking
frisbees
awesome.
did he have in his bag?
So there was the orange one he was playing with originally,
Was the girls, which he
and
threw
then he
it to
threw
her.
it to get her out of there.
Yeah, and then he had one black one in there, which he threw, and I guess he gained the guy's trust with the normal
And
one.
then he swapped it out. He was like, "Oh yeah, you think you're a thrower? Try and catch this." And he just normally throws it to the guy, and he catches it no problem.
So what I don't get is how the razor blade one comes towards him and he puts his hand up as normal, but it slices straight through his fingers and then gets
Yep.
caught in his throat, I think.
Yeah.
But the razor blades looked like they'd been fucking jury rigged on there. Like they were pretty loose, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Worst case scenario, it would have nicked his finger and then fell to the ground.
Right, but this is a Gillette commercial. Those razors are the best a man can get. So, you know.
I don't know, because I cut myself to fucking shreds on Gillette razors because they're usually
Exactly.
pretty blunt.
Exactly. You cut yourself to shit. You cut right through those. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's
It
just
doesn't
a
make
fucking.
sense.
It's
It
just a
doesn't make
scene that
sense.
doesn't make sense, which is another reason why I picked this movie, because I thought it was going to be more entertaining for you guys, but I
Well,
think the issue
right, so
is
the difference between this and Miami Connection is every time Miami Connection did something funny, this movie had a sex scene.
yeah. I think you're probably right. There is the issue is the downtime in between the funny bits.
Yeah, it was literally just boobs. And like once you get to a certain age, you know where to find boobs.
Yeah, and it doesn't phase you anymore. It's just like, okay, so when is this going to be over so we can continue this
Yeah.
bullshit storyline?
Can you imagine watching this with your parents when you're 15?
No, who would fucking watch this?
This would be a this would be a
Unless they're doing a
fantastic punishment
podcast.
actually.
You think when you're 15?
No, like say if your kid turns like 17 and they're just being a little shit. You say,
I don't know. I think 17-year-old Patrick could get through this movie no problem.
Not
If it
with
was a
my- not with
punishment?
my parents. You want to watch this with your parents?
No, my parents would fucking leave the room. They would not. It would be more of a punishment for them than it would be for me.
I wouldn't leave. Well, I would leave.
I
the room.
willingly chose to watch this fucking movie. What are you talking
Holy
about?
fuck, you got a lot of notes for this shitty movie.
No,
You know
a lot of them were notes about the game rules that I made.
You know what my notes were? This fucking movie sucks. 1 point.
Okay,
Yes.
so then a scene happens with a helicopter where people start to get away. And they go to a shack and they lure the bad guys out with noise grenades, which is something that I thought was kind of
They were
interesting.
just grenades.
They were just normal grenades.
They were just grenades.
And they were just throwing them around their friends. They weren't actually throwing them at the building that the bad guys were in. Then the My Beads scene happens, which is, I think, one of the best scenes in the movie as well. The dude starts to have a karate fight with another, I think, Asian dude. An Asian dude that's in there that obviously is good at karate.
Yeah.
But in the fight, the dude's beads get ripped off of him, and he cries out, "My beads, my mother gave those to me," which
He doesn't cry out. He just says, "My beads.
My mother gave those to me."
Just fucking didn't even care.
And then another dude blows up a dude behind a Japanese screen wall with a rocket launcher.
Like, fuck, they're shooting that rocket launcher off within like 5 feet of each other.
They're also throwing
such
grenades right
bullshit.
next to their fucking Jeep.
Yeah, they're noise grenades.
That was a good one. And then they finally save Edie, who was kidnapped in this building. And the
Which I
first
thought
thing
she
that's
got her stomach ripped open in the one scene, and then the next scene she was completely fine.
well, so the
No idea.
when he finds her, he says, "Ooh, kinky," because she's tied up, and he says, "I'll get the midgets and whips." And I was like, "Oh shit, this is where this sex scene is going. This is going to be a weird fucking softcore porno."
I
that
would
we're
have
watching."
much more enjoyed it if he somehow managed to pull out a bunch of midgets.
And whips.
Just like, no, just 5 or 6 midgets just roll in out of fucking nowhere.
Just come flying out of a helicopter.
Yeah, but it's
Come in real hot.
but it's also a very small helicopter.
Yeah.
No, they're coming.
that would
the
be
one
that,
made-
that'd be
the-
great. It's a bring back the small helicopter.
It comes down and it lands and the door opens, and then like he goes and he pulls out the diamonds and it's midgets.
There's like 15 of them just come piling out. That would have been incredible, man.
So there was actually a big size helicopter in this scene as well that they pull out the rocket launcher for and blow up.
Yep.
And then Taryn gets excited for murdering people because she's such a big James Bond fan. And then she gets in shit for that. They're like, "This is real life, Taryn. These are real people." Which I thought was like fucking hilarious because they were literally blowing up everyone and everything with rocket launchers.
They didn't seem to care earlier.
Yeah,
She didn't seem stoked when she killed her first person either.
right. And then they made the escape in the van, the only surviving van. And they realized they forgot someone, so the dude hops on a fucking dirt bike that was also in the van, and he rips,
Also, like,
rips out.
where the fuck did he go?
Well, no. So
And
what happened
the
was
bad guy got to the girl first.
this is what
He
happened.
took ages to get back.
He was just like, we forgot someone, and he just fucking left them all behind. Or
This is what you guys missed. He leaves on the dirt bike. Later on, when the girl is being attacked by the dude at her house, it shows the dude riding back on the dirt bike with the rocket launcher on the handlebars. He went back to get the rocket launcher. That was the whole purpose he went back, was to get the rocket launcher for that last scene.
Fucking livid.
So then Face Shot comes back and attacks her for the diamonds. And then he gets harpooned in the face, or in the shoulder, sorry. And then he gets stabbed after a weird, awkward scene where she cools herself down with ice. Which was another scene that was inserted just to be sexy, I guess. I don't know.
Also, it reminded me of fucking Billy Madison when she's like horking in her hand and then rubbing it all over her chest.
Yeah, there was a scene where she was blowing her nose into a Kleenex and then wiping her chest with the Kleenex, and all you hear is Kyle going, "Ooh! Ooh!" And Patrick's like, "What?" And he looks up at Kyle, and Kyle's just gagging. It was great. It was a great gipping moment, right, Patrick?
And it didn't help my.
It was a good gipping moment, correct?
Didn't help my stomach ache.
So while she's rubbing her chest with phlegm, a snake pops out of the toilet, and then the guy who was harpooned, also shot in the face earlier, and then stabbed, somehow gets up again, only to be face to face with the snake that bites him in the face, and then
Because he apparently didn't see the girl come out of there screaming and jump over the bed.
Right. So it was death by rat cancer delivered via snake,
Rat cancer snake.
A very
Rather
small
than-
bite to the face killed him.
rather than a harpoon, a shot to the face, and a knife.
Yep.
Yeah, this fucking. So then, do you guys remember how the snake gets killed?
Rocket
With a
launcher.
rocket launcher.
Fucking
and
rocket launcher.
two
Well,
shots to
two
the
shots
face.
to the face and then a rocket launcher, yeah. A shot directly down the throat.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't obviously kill a snake, as we all know.
I know, you gotta blow its head off with a clean cut.
Yep.
Like, literally looked like it was cut with a sword.
Yep. He fired the frisbee out of the rocket launcher, clearly.
Speaking of swords, we follow our heroes in a limo ride to a high rise where we meet Mr. Chang, who's standing there with a fucking samurai sword
And a butler.
and a butler. And he says, what did he say? He said something like, we're going to get you today, Chang. And Chang just replies, in a pig's ass.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, did he just say in a pig's ass?
I feel like
He was like, "Yes,
he
I
just
did."
said that. That was like what he was supposed to say. And the guy was like, seriously, that's his line.
That's going to be my new line, is in a pig's ass.
Yeah, man.
It's not going to, like, it's fucking so stupid. So then Chang brings a sword to a gunfight. He gets shot out of a window of the high rise, plummets to his death in front of the remaining people outside.
Which looked like they fucking just put chunks of ham or something in a white suit and threw it up.
It's like that episode of South Park where they pretend that Butters has been killed, so they throw like a pig corpse off
Yeah.
the roof, and it just explodes when it hits the ground.
And like I think there was supposed to be blood on the suit, but it was
It
just
was
like
like
a
a red
piece of red scarf. Fucking horrible.
So fucking
I feel like this is like the third time you've brought up that butter scene. And I don't know what other movie it was, but I feel like you've brought this up a
Well,
few
it's very
times.
relevant, I think.
So yeah, then they celebrate the death of yet another person with of course, a yacht party, which only makes sense. And where they all cheer and cheers to being corrupt cops because they still have diamonds
Yeah.
that they technically don't have to turn in. Then, boys, we are faced with the ending of Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
which shows all the nude scenes.
The
again.
closing credits featuring every single nude scene and sex scene of the movie.
Why would you put that in the
On
fucking
replay.
credits?
Well, they had to show who the girls were.
Like, just in case one lonely guy is left in the theater, just
Right.
It's like in the credits where they show like what character played who, and they show like the best scene of them. That's he was just following the rules.
yeah, he was.
So I think with that, I think that's it for movie night this week.
Yeah.
I owe you boys an apology.
What's this guy's name that made this?
Andy something. Who cares? He's fucking a nobody now.
Well,
You want to know for the ending?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to follow us on Facebook, you can Life with Kenny Podcast, Instagram Life with Kenny Pod, and we should read some reviews. I sent you guys some reviews. You want to read what other people said about this real quick?
Not really, but
Yeah, nah. I mean,
I know you. I don't like. Here, I can just give a quick summary. 1 out of 10. Oh, it's just they think the females are attractive, and the rest of the movie was shit.
And what do you think the 10 out of
Shitty
10 says?
acting.
yeah, it's literally about the fucking
The
women.
girls?
Yeah,
The film is the definition of the word garbage. That's the summary for this one.
Yeah, so the 5 out of 10 is basically about the women as well. So basically, if you're looking for a weird porno, just stick to the internet.
Well, the end of this review is now that father is gone, the entire family watches this
Yeah.
movie once a
Okay.
year.
Okay. No. Stop. You have to read that review. I found that, and I was fucking dying laughing today at work.
Hard Ticket to Hawaii has become a family favorite. You must know by now that Hard Ticket to Hawaii is filled with humorous violence and gorgeous women. The violence doesn't feel cruel or personal. It's more of a device for telling a real story. Irrelevant, there is no real story. The Playboy models in scanty outfits are a celebration of the human form, not pornography. That means you watch a lot of porn and choose to call it the celebration of the human form when you know it's just greasy.
Right,
filthy
but also
porn.
think back to what he said. This is a film that's celebrated by his family. So has he just been punished
My
a lot?
father and brother
or-
would watch this movie together. They knew the plot lines well enough to recite them along with the actors. The movie bled over into real life, and they would say the lines to each other when the moment felt right.
He's just like in a pig's ass,
As
and they're
my-
like, "Oh, you're funny, son."
As my father descended into terminal Alzheimer's disease, this film was his last link with reality. I am so sorry that this was your last link to reality. I really am. Watching this film would bring him out of his stupor and he'd become verbal again. Now that father is gone, the entire family watches this movie once a year on Christmas Eve. We make eggnog, eat fruitcake, and wear sweaters and cry some too. Fuck me, man. That's a sad, sad story.
Wow.
I regret reading that.
I'm glad you did, because we're going down on a low note.
Jesus.
That is fucking horrible.
I'm taking everybody down
Fucking
with
Christ. Also, fuck you, Andy Sedaris, you fucking monster.
me, and Lou Pearlman.
He's also still a
Judge
bit of a
Randall.
cockhead.